Okay, again, I'm Keith Polson. I'm the Site Vice President at Browns Ferry. This slide that I have up on the screen, I've shown this numerous times in the public forum. And really what this is to show you is that we developed a plan a while ago, and we systematically executed the plan. And you can see by the cloud, that's where we're at right now. And as we talk through this, I would say our performance is still improving, but I've said at various other forums is that we're not satisfied with just improving performance. We have to take this plant to a new level. We have to get it to an excellent level. And then the most important thing is we have to make sure that that performance at the excellent level is sustainable for the future. So the first slide was talking about what we call the integrated improvement plan. And so we're at the point now where we're transitioning to an integrated excellence plan. And really what the integrated excellence plan was developed for was to focus on continued nuclear safety culture improvement and to ensure sustained performance improvement in the future. So there's really 5 major focus areas that we're looking at right now. And actually, these 5 were actually part of 95003, part of the fundamental problem areas, but we're just taking those to the excellent level right now. And the first one is procedure upgrade and work instruction upgrade. The next one is the overall operational focus of the entire site. The next one is our work management process that we have made improvements in, but still have not reached the excellent level. And then equipment reliability, we've made numerous improvements in the equipment at Browns Ferry. We executed a safety system reliability plan to upgrade all of the safety related equipment, and we're going to continue and follow through with that plan. And then to tie all those things together, there's a training aspect to all of those to help raise us to the higher standard. So as I said earlier, we can continue to improve performance, but that's not the most important thing. It's to reach the excellent level and make sure that it's sustainable. So just a few things before I turn it over to Mike that we're doing. I talked earlier about the procedure instructions. We have a procedure upgrade project that's ongoing, and that'll be going on for about the next 2 to 3 years. And then the equipment reliability, if you look at our plans moving forward, we have solid plans to continue to upgrade the equipment. And I'm going to turn it over to Mike to talk about the corporate piece and the governance and oversight.
Thanks, Keith. Yeah, what we call the GOES model, which stands for Governance, Oversight, Execution, and Support, provides the connectivity between the corporate organization and the site organization with respect to breakdown of responsibilities. So, it's really about trying to be learning in every regard of our business. So we find opportunities to enhance our ability to provide governance and oversight, and that's what we're focused on, predominantly in the area of leadership and leadership effectiveness, because we all know that performance is ultimately a reflection of leadership. So that's where we're focused, and we're making improvements and stretching, as Keith said, to try to achieve our parameters, our metrics, to be top quartile, industry quartile values.
Mike, Keith, thank you for that. Among the things that just shared by TVA, I think that Mr. Polson talked about sustaining excellence and performance improvements. It's a conversation that NRC has had publicly and during inspections and other meetings with the TVA over the last 4 to 5 years. I know we recall that what got us here today was a red finding that occurred in October of 2009, 2009, and the issuance of the red finding in 2010. And the plan that you referred to is an integrated improvement plan that we had the opportunity, NRC, to review to make sure it was comprehensive in terms of the areas that needed improvement. And this has been a journey. I know it's been a journey for the TVA. It's also been a journey for the NRC as we've observed your efforts to improve performance to a point where I believe you're poised to return to normal NRC oversight. But you, I think, appropriately challenge yourself that you're not where you want to be, and that bodes well both for TVA, for the people that you provide a service to, and for safety. So as one of the people chiefly responsible for safety oversight, that's good news. And we'll make sure that it happens via the oversight that we have here with the resident inspectors as well as others from the Region 2 office. And given the history at TVA of sometimes cyclic performance, it's important that that be followed through on the governance and oversight model, the investment that the board will have in Browns Ferry going forward are extraordinarily important to the people that live around Browns Ferry and to the NRC. And we'll make sure that happens. I'll also add as a final note, since October, I think the first opportunity that TVA had the opportunity to meet with the NRC Commission, a 5-member presidential appointed board over the NRC Commission was in October 2010, and you've had the opportunity at least once a year since then to meet with the commission. I'll note that the next opportunity is coming up in a couple of weeks. On Tuesday, the 3rd of June, there will be an opportunity for TVA to meet with the commission, and I know they look forward to the message you're going to share with them at that meeting as well. So with that, unless you have a response?
Just to reinforce what you said, Victor, we're obviously our goal is to get into the licensee response column on the action matrix, but it's actually to build a margin there, to operate with margin in that region. So it's not just a minimalistic point of view. We're committed to do the things that we need to with leadership leading the charge to be able to provide the margin so that we don't find ourselves here again.
Very good. Thank you for that. So with that, are there any administrative things we need to do at this point? No, we can do it at the end. So I want to close the end of cycle annual assessment portion of the meeting, and we'll transition to part 2.
Thank you, Vic. All right, so we're going to segue into the regulatory performance meeting. Our inspection manual chapter 0305, which I mentioned, which is the guidance for our regulatory oversight process, requires a public meeting between the NRC and licensee to discuss the performance deficiencies and licensee's proposed corrective actions for any issues that got them into degraded cornerstone or above. So that's the purpose of this meeting, is to conduct those discussions in a public forum. We will be discussing the completion of our supplemental inspection conducted using inspection procedure 95002, which was completed in April 2014. The inspection was conducted to review the licensee's corrective actions, or essentially start off with reviewing their root cause, the extent of condition, extent of cause, and corrective actions, and also look at their evaluation for safety culture impacts on those issues. And also we did an independent extent of condition, extent of cause. But the two wide issues that result in the inspection were a white performance indicator for the emergency AC power sources, which we talked about before, that affected both units 1 and 2. And then a white finding for failure to accomplish safe shutdown procedures. And I should note that white finding, we've already conducted our lower level 95001 inspection for that finding. That looked at the root cause and corrective actions. But since there was overlap between that wide finding and this performance indicator, that put them into Greater Cornerstone, which drove this additional supplemental inspection. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to TVA to give them an opportunity to discuss what they've done for those findings, for those issues. And then we'll have LaDonna go through what we did during our inspection and what we concluded. Right, we're swapping over. So Keith, I'll turn over to you.
Okay, so at high level, the corrective actions for emergency AC power. The root cause was station personnel did not consistently consider risk when making decisions. This is, when we did this root cause, we went back and we looked at what we actually had discovered when we started the 95003 process, and it was the same root cause, and we actually had a fundamental problem area that addressed it. And so what we did was we implemented a procedure for leadership performance management to reinforce and institutionalize conservative decision-making at the plant. And the procedure that we implemented requires us to do quarterly feedback and address with each of the leaders at the plant the decision-making and stress the conservative decision-making that they've performed over the quarter, and that's what's coming up for them. We also developed and delivered training to all the leaders at the plant to provide the expected behaviors that support nuclear safety. And three big topics that we discussed in that training was decision-making, conservative decision-making, timely completion of corrective actions, and then not proceeding in the face of uncertainty. All of this training was completed, but we felt that we needed to continue that and provide continuing training. So we do have continuing training in progress right now that includes different case studies for the different leaders at the plant. Some additional corrective actions were that we reviewed all of the diesel generator components for single point vulnerabilities, and we went through all of those with a team of experts, and we did identify a few potentials for single point vulnerabilities, but we also identified that we had a preventative maintenance structure in place that would mitigate the chance of those becoming an issue. And then I discussed earlier about a safety system reliability plan. We need to complete all the actions in that plan, and we have one action left, and that's the last remaining diesel generator out of the 8 diesel generators. There's one more modification that we have to perform, and then all 8 diesel generators will have been upgraded to the industry standards. Moving on to the safe shutdown issue, the immediate corrective actions were that we went back and we reviewed and revised the safe shutdown instructions, and then all licensed operators received training before they were allowed to go back on shift, and then they had to be evaluated before they went back on shift. And actually I performed the evaluation of the operations crews before they were allowed to return and take the shift. The root cause was inadequate project management for fast-track design. And what we found out is when we went back through our procedures, we have a modification process, but there are some, and there's a normal time frame that you go through, but there are certain situations where you need to get the modification done more expeditiously. And what we found is our procedures really did not differentiate between a normal modification and a fast-track modification. So we went back and we revised some procedures to essentially put in some, what I would call hooks, so that if you were in a fast-track project, you'd have to evaluate the risk up front. You'd have a matrix, you'd look at all the items that could cause any additional risk, and then owners and due dates would be assigned. And then there's additional challenges that as you're going through the project that have to occur to ensure that we don't miss anything while fast-tracking these modifications. And then the last part of this, another one of the root cause, was decision-making associated with the systematic approach to training was not used to analyze, design, develop, and implement and evaluate the operator training. So this was a brand new procedure that caused the issue. So we went back and we revised some additional training procedures, and these are fleet procedures. And these ensure that for any new procedure that we have to go back and perform a training evaluation for that procedure.
All right, thank you, Keith. At this time, we're going to switch back over, and I'm going to turn over to LaDonna Suggs. LaDonna is the senior inspector in our Region 2 office in Division of Reactor Safety. LaDonna led the 9502 inspection. We also had 3 other inspectors on the team, a senior resident inspector from another, an NRC senior resident inspector from one of the other nuclear plants, an operator license examiner from Region 2. They specialize in evaluating the operators, evaluating operations procedures, and then an electrical inspector from Region 2 who's focused looking at the emergency diesel generator performance indicators. LaDonna?
Thanks, Jonathan. As we've already mentioned, the 2 white mitigating systems inputs into the action matrix were for the white PI, performance indicator for the emergency AC power systems, and the white finding related to safe shutdown procedures. As Jonathan mentioned, the NRC evaluated the white finding in October of 2012 under inspection procedure 95001. As such, an additional review of the items that were inspected during the 95001 evaluation were not required for this inspection. However, inspection requirements that are unique to inspection procedure 95002 were evaluated, as well as a review of the status of implementation of the corrective actions and an evaluation of the changes that were made or that could have been made subsequent to the 95001 inspection. So at this time, I'd like to give you a little bit of background about what the inspection procedure 95002 looks at. Up on the slide, we have the 4 primary objectives of the procedure. The first is to provide assurance that the causes of individual and collective performance issues are understood. And I'll just point out the major difference between the lower level inspection procedure 95001 and inspection procedure 95002 is that it looks at the collective impact of having multiple performance issues in one cornerstone. So that was the primary focus of this inspection. So you'll notice in the objectives that there is a focus on the individual as well as the collective impact of having multiple performance issues. So the second objective is for NRC inspectors to independently assess the extent of condition and the extent of cause of individual and collective performance issues. The third is for NRC inspectors to independently determine if safety culture components caused or contributed to the individual and collective performance issues. And then finally, the fourth objective is to provide assurance that the licensee's corrective actions for significant performance issues are sufficient to address the causes and to prevent recurrence. So those are the primary objectives of the inspection procedure 95002. Our inspection team determined that the inspection procedure objectives were satisfied, all 4 of them. We determined that the root and contributing causes were well understood and that corrective actions for the performance issues were sufficient to address the root and contributing causes and to prevent recurrence. I won't go into a lot of detail because TVA, I believe, has done a good job in giving you a summary of what the root causes were as well as what their primary corrective actions were. During our inspection, we took a very deep look at all of the corrective actions that were put in place to address the root and contributing causes. So we won't go into a lot of that detail, but our report is publicly available, and those details are mentioned in that report. So I won't go into a lot of the examples of the root causes, since TVA has already done that for us. Our inspection team independently assessed the extent of condition and the extent of cause of the issues, and determined that Ferry conducted a very comprehensive extent of condition and extent of cause review that was broad and sufficiently identified additional relevant areas. The inspectors also independently determined that safety culture components did cause and significantly contributed to the identified issues. Our inspection team concluded that TVA's evaluation of performance issues was comprehensive and self-critical. The root and contributing causes were identified and understood. Our inspection team determined that TVA conducted a comprehensive extent of condition and extent of cause review that sufficiently identified relevant areas for both the white finding and the white AC power mitigating systems performance indicators. Inspectors determined that there were no adverse changes made to the root cause evaluation for the white finding associated with the safe shutdown procedures since the 95001 evaluation, and that corrective actions for that issue were adequate, and effectiveness reviews were actually in progress. So we had an opportunity, since that had been inspected during the 95001 inspection, we took the 95002 as an opportunity to look at the corrective actions that had actually been completed up to that point, and there were several that had been completed, and TVA had also started the process of their effectiveness reviews to ensure that the corrective actions that had been put in place were effective in actually correcting the conditions that they had identified. Safety culture components were found to be a significant contributor to both performance issues, and the NRC inspection team concluded that TVA appropriately correlated each cause to an appropriate safety culture component and aspect, and established corrective actions to address each of those safety culture issues as well. So our inspection team concluded that the completed and planned corrective actions appeared adequate and sufficient to prevent recurrence for both the white finding as well as the white performance issue, and it adequately addressed all the safety culture components that were associated with both of those issues. Again, the details of this inspection effort are provided in our inspection report that was issued on May 14th of 2014 and is now publicly available, and it goes into great detail in terms of the scope that this inspection team went through, as well as details on all of our conclusions of that inspection.
All right, thank you, LaDonna. That inspection report number is 2014-010, if you want to take a look at it. Victor.
Okay, so we're approaching the close of the formal part of the two-part meeting we've held today. Just to reiterate, going forward, Ferry Unit 1 remains in column 4. We've completed the inspections needed to assess Ferry Unit 1's performance once the associated performance indicators that cause the unit to remain in column 4, multiple repetitive degraded cornerstone, actually return green, and we will do that in the next couple of months. We do have an opportunity at a public commission meeting in 2 weeks on the 3rd of June to speak with TVA about its performance for 2013. The commission, we look forward to that. There remains one white emergency preparedness finding that was issued in April that NRC will be performing a supplemental inspection for under inspection procedure 95001. We will likely hold that sometime in the next 3 to 4 months. So you will be able to look for the results of that inspection as well. And I believe, Dave, you also referred to the order, confirmatory order associated with the 2009 safety culture mediation, alternate dispute resolution. We'll also be following up on that later this year as well. So with that, unless you have any follow-on questions or comments?
No, we appreciate the opportunity to be here to meet with you and discuss our program.
Good, thank you, Mike. So with that, we're going to close the formal portion of this afternoon's meeting, and we will pause for just 1 second. I don't know if you want to remain here, but we're going to reposition our chairs up in front of these tables to have the opportunity to engage the members of the public who are here, as well as those who may have joined us on the phone. So we'll just pause for just 1 second.